Hello, friends. A couple quick announcements. This is our 50th episode. Woo! I wish there was someone else here with me so they could get all excited. To celebrate this, we're going to be streaming on Monday, November 1st. That's either the day this comes out or the day after this episode comes out, depending on when I post it. Probably around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be on my Twitch account, Beckworm, Bekworm. And we're still kind of new to streaming, but I'll probably be a little buzzed. It should be fun. I'm a support main. You're going to have to see from my point of view, probably. I'm not good. Please don't judge me. One more thing, though. Our next episode is going to be our first Arcane episode. We're so excited. We want to talk about each part after they're released, but before the new episodes launch. So we're probably going to be putting them up around Wednesday or Thursday instead of our usual Monday, to give us time and to give all of you time to watch the new episodes, because obviously we're going to talk about everything. Spoilers abound. So yeah, that'll be like that for the next few weeks until Arcane's over. So thank you so much. Enjoy Jax. Hello, loreheads, and welcome to The League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
And today we're talking about Grandmaster at Arms Jax, who was released February 21st, 2009. Does that mean he's an original?
He's certainly in the original trailer.
Yeah, he's one of the original 40 at least. I don't know about beta, but
But with launch, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
He is old enough that his original lore doesn't even mention the League of Legends. That's how old this guy is.
Yeah. I also looked at his old lore on this one. Another one. I don't know why. Every time I go to read the old lore, they don't actually join the League.
Oh no, you're waiting for that line.
Well, I guess you mean his original very first lore, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Which, for the record, in my old lore segment today, I'm using his second lore, not his original.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's just more to work with there.
Sure.
I
I didn't realize that there were champions who were so old that they predated the title of the game. I mean, obviously the title of the game was there, but I didn't realize that League of Legends was newer comparatively.
Yeah, it was digging up like sedimentary layers of lore, where it's oh, here is the current era, and then we're down to the Clash of Fates era or whatever, the Institute of War era, and then there's this
we're back
weird
when
primordial.
They're selling League of Legends on CDs.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, the primordial ooze that was the League of Legends lore.
So Jax has on his universe page a bio, a cinematic, and 2 short stories. Although he's not in one of them that much. Classic.
He's he's in it more than say
I should say, yeah, after Janna, he's in it a lot more than that. I should give it credit, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was reading it for a while who is this? This isn't Jax, right?
Right.
Yeah, because we get another real name on this one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well,
does anyone want to take us through that bio? Or actually, before we do that, I guess we should do the impressions.
oh, fuck me.
Oh, fuck.
He just sounds like a dude.
He sounds
I don't
like
know.
Draven, because he's voiced by the Draven
Same dude
via...
that did Draven.
And his lines are very similar. He's who wants a piece of the champ?
Ooh, that was good.
Oh, that's good. Here's to you, kid.
Hey, that's...
Oh, nice. I don't really have one. Who's next? He says
There
that.
you go.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He even says that in his story, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does, actually.
Yeah. I was kind of the voice actor is really good, but it's just not what I expected from Jax. In particular, the lines, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like him to me.
Not my Jax.
Not my Jax.
The Jax that I know oh so well.
It's weird, I guess, because I don't know, his VO is so old, right? That it doesn't really line up that much with, and that was something I felt from looking at the bio and the stories. He's a little more grim than his VO. One of them's he's a little more playful, but for the most part, he seems kind of like little more tragic, I guess, than being this like, who wants to fight type guy, right?
Yeah. I definitely have in my description of the bio wrote the words where he intends to commit suicide. So yeah, his backstory is more tragic than his voiceover would suggest.
Yeah.
But getting into the bio, Jax's real name. I don't want to do it. I don't want to try it. Can someone else try this name?
Jax's full original name was Jax Kalrinx Ikathun. Now,
I was reading it as Jax.
I assumed it was Jax. Now, because I played too much fucking Mortal Kombat.
Pat Jax.
Huh? That's honestly, yeah, Patrick Jax.
But
give me that skin.
Yeah, okay. Now, John, you're giving me a little stink eye because I know he has a different name in one of these short stories, but I think that...
Oh, he just has one added. He has another name added to it.
Oh.
Because actually, I read his name, and I left a note to myself before I got to the second story. I was like, I said, I wonder what his name structure means. My guess is name, parent 1, parent 2, role origin, which was then almost immediately confirmed in the second story, and I was real proud of myself.
Oh, nice, huh?
Yeah. No, it's well done. Well done. Interesting, right? It's an interesting little detail to have for him and all the Acathians, I guess. And it's obviously kind of well constructed because you were able to kind of like, from the way this is built, I think it's probably this, right?
Yeah, because Ikathun, and we know he's from, Akathia.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Probably not.
No, I think... Or do you mean Ikathun or Akathia?
Akathia.
Either.
I was pronouncing it Ikatha.
Ikatha? Because there is... Malzahar has a quote where he says, Akathia beckons.
That's probably right then.
Excellent.
Nice.
And then the fact that Kohari got added after he became a member of the Kohari made me think that the name probably meant something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
anyway. Jax is from Akathia, as we've said.
As everyone knows how to pronounce.
Akathia is under Shuriman rule at this time. Growing up, Jax's father kind of told him that Akathia was having like a cool, super good time until Shurima came and ruined everything. He also explained about the Kohari, who protected the Mage King. But when the Mage King lost the battle and died during Shurima's conquering, the Kohari all committed a ritual suicide. So Jax spent his time learning to fight from Shurimans and his own clan. After a bunch of centuries, because like everyone else, Jax lives forever.
Just long enough.
Anyway, an earthquake hits and reveals an old power the Icathian mages... Icathian? Is that how you would say that?
Sounds right.
Okay. Thought might be strong enough to finally defeat the Ascended, which is why Shurima was able to rule everyone. Jax was in charge of keeping them safe as they explored, with brazier staves blazed with the conjured elemental fire, which is, his weapon, if you'll recognize. And the power they found, of course, was the Void, which Jax had icky feelings about, but everyone ignored him. So the council crowned a new Mage King, and the Kohari were reformed. Jax joined them immediately, and even killed an Ascended once. That's just kind of dropped in there. Was it Aatrox? Did we talk about this in the first episode?
I don't remember.
Aatrox died way earlier, right?
Yeah, they didn't. Okay. They didn't specify which one it is. I don't know if we have contextual evidence from other stories on which one it is. Whichever one died by having a fucking mountain dropped on it. That's the one that he killed.
Jax killed someone with a mountain?
It's probably not Aatrox because...
No.
So Aatrox is a Darkin, right? And he was trapped in his weapon. So I assume he was not killed, but was trapped like so many of the other Darkin were, kind of at the end of all of it. So I think even there's a story we looked at, I think when we were looking at Aatrox, called not where Akathia once stood. It was the other one that Graham McNeil wrote that was about a bunch of Ascended, like Darkin folk meeting up.
The fact that you remember... Aatrox. This, Mark, is like super impressive.
Because it was a good story, I will say. But yeah, they mentioned Aatrox, and he's missing, but he's not dead. He just didn't show up at this big group meeting. So someone else, I don't know. There's a bunch of them.
Call into the Zoom.
Yeah, honestly.
Fucking was late. Anyway, when the Ascended come to fight back, the Icathians... God, why do I keep forgetting this? They released the Void, and... it went badly. Acathia was destroyed, and Jax went to the crater that was left, determined to kill himself like the rest of the Kahari, but instead he finds one of those brazier stave things. He takes it and starts wandering around Runeterra. Over time, the flame starts to fade, and Jax knew that he had to fight the void, which was held back by the final surviving Ascended. It kind of dropped in. I don't know if I knew that, or if we talked about it before. Anyway, Jax kind of fights. It's just like fighting some folks now, looking for anyone strong enough to fight with him against the void, but it doesn't seem like he's found anyone yet, which I'm calling bullshit on that. Just based on everything we've learned about Runeterra, there's just super powerful, immortal people everywhere.
Right? We can give you a list, my dude.
He's really bad at recruiting. He's
so bad.
Right? We find him, he's going to like fucking Demacia. Like, no, man, there's a place that just where people climb a mountain and become gods.
my
Don't
God.
go to Demacia, go there.
Right, why are you going to fucking Demacia?
Yeah. You know, he's old. He's not hip to like LinkedIn. He's putting out classifieds in print. Like, he doesn't understand.
You got to hit the pavement to get a job. That's what you got to do.
Oh, man.
Anyway, that's his bio.
Yeah.
Yeah. To your point, I also don't know who who the Ascended was who held it back. I don't know if...
Are they still there? Just like...
I think it's
holding
Nasus.
back the void?
Because I think...
Was it
Oh.
I think Nasus's deal is that he is the last... Like, technically the last surviving Ascended, and he kind of staved off becoming an insane monster Darkin, and so he's still kind of stuck around, which we know from, like, when we were looking at Azir, and we saw... that Azir in modern day is kind of rising up, and Nasus was trolling around looking for Sivir and had that whole to do with Xerath.
Right.
I don't remember what the name of that fucking story was, but I think Nasus is technically the only Ascended left alive, ignoring like Renekton and Xerath, who are I guess kind of Ascended. Renekton's totally Ascended, but he was like trapped. So as far as everyone knows, I think Nasus is the only one still kicking around. I think.
Yeah, he also, he decides to go by his stage name, Jax, instead of his whole name. So,
Sure.
That's a good call. Everyone needs a good stage name. Also, he has quotes about this, and I know that this is a new edition as opposed to what his old lore was when it was initially decided, but Jack's sitting around here talking like, oh, imagine if I had a real weapon. It's just a little lamppost. Like, my dude, you're fighting with magical fire that can hold back the void. Let's not be like that.
Yeah. Even in the stories when it describes it as a lamppost, I'm like, it's not really a lamppost, right? It's a
right?
You're calling it a brazier staff like multiple times because it's not a lamppost, right? Maybe it's not a weapon, but like you said, it's got elemental fire and shit on it. It's probably fine.
Yeah, I really didn't know anything about Jax. I had no idea where he was from or what his deal was. I think his bio was fine. There was a lot in it. Like, you learn a lot about a whole region that I was like completely unaware of. And it was nice to get a different perspective on the Void's release that had nothing to do with Shurima.
Yeah, and it's a region too that there's not a lot of people from. So like, these stories are probably like the only visibility we're getting into this region because there's only a very small handful from here.
Yeah, because they don't exist anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think to your point, it's not really that much about Jax. It's very much explaining the fall of Acathia and how the Void came into being, and it's neat. I mean, it's not like the most like terribly original, but I like the trope.
Yeah.
City like especially like they're them rising up against Shuriman kind of rule and that being the kind of impetus for them blowing shit up. I like that. But yeah, we have to look to the stories to try and get more about Jax. Really,
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the bio did a good job of like giving us the outline. I think the short story gives a much better view of what that whole thing was like.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was which well written. I mean, I feel like the dude writes good stories.
That was the longer short story.
Yeah.
There was also a shorter one he had, but
yeah, for sure. The other thing I was gonna say about the bio is I really don't know how I feel about Jax being another age, like, he's 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
Because they kind of like hand wave it as both like, well, Acathians already are super long lived, and then also he's got this cool magic stave, and that's what's keeping him alive. It's like, I don't know. The question obviously is like, how do you get all this firsthand knowledge and still not have him do that? But we know Zillion's kicking around, and he's all about time shit. So have like Jax get spat out of a time bubble or something, right? Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, it's just funny every time I realize that a champion is that old. I'm like, can I just get like a fucking person? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're not strong enough to compete in the League of Legends, so we don't hear about them.
Yeah, we've got stories about people. Remember, Hecarim killed a bunch of them.
Yeah. But you know, like Annie, we assume Gragas. Those are ones that we lie to or are not.
Graves.
Yeah, Graves.
Graves and TF.
Good, really good example. Yeah.
Actually, Bilgewater in general, I think, is full of just people.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say about him going out and trying to rebuild the Kohari, it made me think a lot of Illaoi, actually, in that they're both doing really similar things. Once again, they're both trying to ward off some great, outer evil, and to do that, they're going around testing people to build up a crew. I don't know if they should like hang out or if it's like starting to become a little too similar, but they felt very similar.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and I mean, Illaoi is at least doing a better job finding people that can pass our test. I feel like Jax is he needs to adjust his parameters.
Yeah,
maybe,
standards are too high.
Find the demon child in the woods.
Actually, we'll get into it a little bit because I know his short story goes into him trying to test people, which I have some thoughts about.
Oh, I'm excited to hear them.
Interesting.
Yeah, this bio did make me excited about a potential Void event, though. I've always been excited about a potential Void event, or since we started doing this, and basically since the Aatrox episode, when I learned a little bit more about what the Void can do. And yeah, I mean, it seems like they really want to do that at some point, and it just hasn't been a priority. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe they'll be the big bad in the MMO, and they're holding off.
Honestly, I mean, that's not the like most tinfoil hat theory, right? That would be a really good like MMO type event, right, to throw in after a year or two. I don't know. We'll see. But I do agree with you. I would really like a Void event. And reading through his longer short story made me want one even more because the Void comes off really fucking cool.
Yeah,
it does.
And I want to learn more about the Void champs because I guess we've only had Cho'Gath, I think, so far, but we have nothing, absolutely zero about him. And I have a feeling that a lot of other Void champs are going to be the same way, where they're just like a monster and like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
But we'll see.
Cool. I can do the short story. I can do both if you want.
Yeah.
But this one's called... So the bio, by the way, was by Ian St. Martin. I don't know if we credited it, but the wiki...
So.
The wiki's got him.
Thanks, Wiki.
Thank you, Wiki.
They're never credited on the universe page.
Likewise for this one, None Shall Pass by Graham McNeil. And the title is very apropos because Jax is essentially sitting on a bridge in Demacia being the Black Knight. He's just refusing to let this group of Demacian soldiers pass because he's just challenging them, right? He's testing them. He's trying to find someone to join him, and he is... It opens with him sitting on a bridge enjoying his third hard-boiled egg of the day, and there's a cadre of warriors.
Weird.
This is like a detail that they decided Jax has. He likes his eggs.
The one thing.
He needs his
loves
protein.
His fucking eggs.
Just strange detail to add in there. His third of the day. I was trying to think of what number it would be that I was like, that's too many hard-boiled eggs.
It's that many. His third of the day.
It's not 4 dozen, so he's as large as a barge.
Jax cracks open his 6th hard-boiled egg of the day. See, there's just a different ring to that where you're like, are you all right, man?
Right? He has to stop before every duel, like, hold on. Hold
I
on.
need to re-egg.
Well,
Okay, I'm sorry.
He fought 15 dudes in this one, so that's a lot of egg to get through, my man.
What
Get a
He's
deal
got
on
his
the
bag
18
just
pack.
full of hard-boiled eggs.
What do you think his egg to defeated enemy ratio is? How many eggs do you need to power up enough to beat one Demacian?
He's got the mask down, so it'll just at the bottom.
No.
Okay, that would never happen because Jax is the Grandmaster at Arms, and what we're seeing
That's
in
true.
this story is that yes, there's a bunch of warriors on the other side, and they're trying to figure out who's going to go fight him next. And a big guy steps up. Jax finishes his egg, and then they start going at it. And Jax notes that this guy is good. He's fast. He's big. He's scary. But Jax pretty masterfully handles him. Eventually depositing him in the river, very masterfully. And throughout we do learn, Jax has been doing this for 4 hours. He's beaten 15 other guys before this guy, and everyone has been beaten, and none are good enough to stand up to his trial. And then at the very end, Jax is like, "Who's next?" And Fiora rides up, dismounts, and is like, "Oh, this is my bridge, so I'm next." And Jax is like, "A worthy opponent." And then we end.
Cut to black. Yeah.
Much like a League cinematic ends right before the final conclusion.
Yeah, they both jump in the air and it turns into a book.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Like that one Rocky movie.
And they turn into a book.
No, with the freeze frame. Before they fight, the freeze frame.
Yeah, that 180s movie that ends in a freeze frame. You know the one.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway.
So, my dude, what's his plan here? Because he's testing people, sure. Let's say he finds someone worthy. Is he just going to be like, all right, fucking come with me now to Acathia, now that I have deemed you worthy to
what's
fight
Acathia?
Yeah, honestly, that's actually what they would ask.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is his end game there?
Okay. I'll say for this about Demacia, because they're noble, dicks. I feel like if he had mentioned some kind of great evil and maybe explained the void, I could see, a Demacian soldier potentially. Maybe not a soldier, because they're, really loyal to, Demacia or whatever, but I don't know. But also, how does someone defeat him? How are they good at,
Yeah.
That Demacian guy was going to kill him.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're this... All right, if he's just beating down Demacians, a Demacian is not gonna... A Demacian
idea.
who's capable of beating him in combat is not just gonna fucking let him walk away after that. And also, this dude killed an Ascended. Why is he going around challenging random nobodies on a bridge? That's a dick move. Let people cross the bridge.
That is... Well, maybe he... I don't know. It's a good question. It doesn't ever explicitly say that he's not allowing passage. He is just... It just reads that way. From context clues, we assume he's
because the title is None
them.
Shall Pass.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I like the idea of Jax bullying a bunch of, farmers. Oh, you want to cross this bridge?
It's a fucking bridge troll. That's really... I like to imagine that at this point, he's been trying to find someone for so long that he's just really done, and this is him kind of annoyed. In Groundhog Day, he has some days where he just kind of gives up and is fucking around. That's kind of what it feels like.
That would, I would honestly wouldn't mind that if he read as very oh, I'm tired and this is my day off, and his day off is fighting 15 16 dudes on a bridge. Okay.
Yeah. Or he's tried so many other ways to try to find worthy opponents, and none of them worked. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna sit on this fucking bridge and challenge every single person who comes to pass me, and maybe then I'll find someone.
Sure.
I do like imagining too that he finally finds that person that's good enough, and they're also they don't kill him immediately like most probably would in that situation. And he's like, all right, sweet, come with me. We're going to Acathia. And they're just like, nah, I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I love the water.
Right. I think you're going to say, it's all right, let's go to next bridge. We need to get 10 more dudes. I've been doing this for 5 years, so you're going to want to find a good spot to sit.
Okay, so the flip side is that this is the only way Jax has ever tried recruiting people. He's just gone to different bridges all around Runeterra.
Hey man, it worked in ancient Shrima. He's old. He doesn't, like I said, he hasn't adapted. Right? Boomer Jax.
God, okay, Jax, there are so many mages locked in Demacia right now who would probably be great at defeating the void.
Right? We know you don't handle kiting well, so there's a lot of people that can probably beat you there.
It also seems like Noxus would be more what he's looking for, right? A place where there's a bunch of contests of strength constantly happening all the time.
Yeah. We would love him there.
Yeah.
Especially because, it's clear he's fought a lot of Demacians, and it's very clear when he's watching them fight that they're all very predictable because they're all military. They've all been taught probably by the same person. They've all been taught the same techniques. you don't want, if you're looking for variety, you don't go to Demacia. Like, yeah, go somewhere like Noxus, where the people who've risen to the top have done so through their own unique means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not even trying.
Maybe he's never heard of Noxus. I don't know.
You know, that could work. I mean, this again, he is like thousands of years old, and he's talking like, as he's like, oh, Demacians, they're still pretty, you know, stalwart against strangers in their, you know, borders, right? Like, it's like, or, you know, like he kind of remembers like, oh, this is how Demacians used to be. So maybe like, yeah, I could see it being reasonable that there are places he just doesn't know about that now exist that didn't before. And that would be a good way to give him some more character, maybe. Like, really emphasize like how, I don't know, how out of like 3,000 years, living for 3,000, 4,000 years would probably fuck you up a bit in some way, right? Especially if you're like him and you have not found anybody to ever join you in your quest. Right?
And he's alone. He doesn't have any friends or family or anything like that. He's another character that I'm having a hard time relating to because of that, because he doesn't have any human connection that I can kind of pull from.
At least in this lore.
Oh shit! Okay.
No, I agree. I think we get glimpses. There were some things like the egg detail is nice. It's a nice detail, but if it's all, you know, sizzle no steak. Like, we need more of a core to a character before these little details really endear them to us.
Yeah, I love steak with my eggs.
Hey, right.
Especially given how much they lean on the egg detail.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We learned more about. Especially because I
could tell you nothing about Jax's family. I can tell you a lot about that egg he ate.
He doesn't have a lot of like core quotes on his base skin, but like his alternate skins, so many fucking egg quotes.
Wait, are there
really? All about his goddamn eggs.
Really?
Really?
Okay, you need to give me some examples. What?
All right,
That's
here, I'll skip ahead to the.
That's
all right.
great.
Here are some Jax quotes that reference the eggs. This is the best thing since boiled eggs.
Wait, Jack.
My hobbies include saving people, defending kingdoms, and eating eggs, boiled at optimal temperatures. I like my action the way I like my eggs, hard boiled. Little known fact, peeling eggs takes longer than saving kingdoms. And finally, my happy place is peace, quiet, and a boiled egg. Guy fucking loves his egg.
We need some t-shirts with that quote on it right fucking now, dude.
What the?
They really leaned into the egg thing a lot.
Oh my god, that's holy fuck! I don't have a way to react to that.
That's all I know about Jax.
Yeah, right. But that's how I feel after reading this lore. Is like, he's the egg man. I'm the walrus, and he is the egg. Yeah.
Okay, which one do you want on a t-shirt? Because I think I want my hobbies include saving people, defending kingdoms, and eating eggs, boiled at optimal temperatures. I think that's my favorite.
I want I like my action like I like my eggs, hard boiled.
That is a very you one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Are those all from the same skin, or are they spread across skin?
I think they're all the same skin.
Okay.
What skin is it?
I would have to look that up.
Okay.
But they were all the same one.
Okay.
You just Google Jax egg skin.
Eggs for Jax.
Eggs for Jax.
Oh my god.
Please donate to my GoFundMe. Eggs for Jax.
I'm out of eggs. I need more. Or I'll never stop the void.
Oh my god. Well, you've successfully fucking ruined Jax for me. I don't know, like, he's the Eggman.
Okay.
The Eggman reigns supreme. Fuck me.
Okay, so John's gonna keep looking up this. There is another short story that's not very short, which I'm actually surprised that other one was also by Graham McNeil, because I feel like, does Graham McNeil only write these really long short stories?
I feel like
probably. That's probably why they hired him.
Yeah, that's the sense I got, especially after seeing like multiple of these ones that are almost entirely just about a specific like region rather than a character. It seems like they're like, hey, come in and do these pieces to fill out like the world, like give us a Azan piece, right? Like that type of stuff. And this one's kind of almost like a void piece, I feel like.
Yeah, because that was probably what he... I mean, I never read his Warhammer books, but my guess is that's what he was known for.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And for the record, Mecha Kingdom's Jax. In
okay.
case you want to buy the skin strictly based on that.
I need them egg quotes. Okay, egg team. That's what we'll do next time we get on the Rift. An egg team. Jackson 4 egg champions. Anyway, I'll do this one. So
Egg champion? Oh, there's Teemo.
Yeah, Teemo, Anivia turns
Dragon
into an egg.
Trainers, maybe.
Dragon Trainer,
Anivia turns
Heimer.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Dragon Trainer is Zyra. She lays down eggs.
Damn.
We cooking up some fucking breakfast.
We're hard boiled now, baby.
The biggest omelet you've ever seen. Okay. What are we talking about? We're talking about Jax, not eggs. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
me.
sorry.
No,
Same
it's
thing,
all
though,
good.
really.
Really?
You are what you eat, right?
Oh, man.
Anyway, this other story.
Nah, this is a long one. It's all good. It's good, though. It's called Where Icathia Once Stood. I think we remember name dropping it way back in the Aatrox story because we were looking around at shit.
Yeah.
And,
back before I even knew the dude in this story was fucking Jax.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't fucking Jax.
I was going to say.
So it is told from the perspective of an Icathian warrior named Axamuk Varchoi Kohari Ikathor.
Nice.
Yeah. Got it in one. Yes. So he's a Icathian, right? And then it starts with him explaining all the details of his name and also kind of talking about it's the only thing that he has left of himself. And soon it will also be gone. And it kind of flashes back to that morning where Axamuk, Axa, is marching along with the newly formed Kohari, and that's why it's got added to his name, and that's also why it got added to Staff Jax's name, because they got joined with the newfound Kohari, and he is remembering the day of this open rebellion in Icathia. So they're destroying and defacing all these Shuriman vestiges, and they're killing Shuriman officials, even ones who are like interns, right? It's like anybody. It's just like it's a very violent kind of thing. And at the same time, he also remembers this elation of marching with the Kohari and this random girl coming up and giving him flowers and kissing him, and he kind of interjects for a moment about how he doesn't remember anything about her at this point, just her eyes, and soon that will also be gone. But it goes back into our flashback. Axamuk, is marching along and is kind of talking with these two veterans, one named Colgrim Aval Essa Kohari Ikathan, and one who's a little familiar, Jax Kyle, blah, 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 blah. Jax is one of them. And that's also where we get a description of what Jax looks like, or at least looked like. He is described as a shaven-headed giant with a pockmarked face and a forked beard that is stiffened into points. Who knows? Yeah. Oh, I guess, real sidestep, in the previous story, it also is noted that Jax's skin now is modeled and does not look like living tissue or anything like that, and he doesn't even know what it looks like anymore.
Yeah, he does say that, where he hasn't seen his skin in a while, which really, so Jax isn't bathed is another thing that we get. He only eats hard-boiled eggs, and he doesn't shower, so that's a really bad combination.
He's really stewing in his own juices.
Seals in the flavor.
Oh my god. Fuck me. Anyway. He's bantering with the veterans. Him and the army form up outside the ruins of Icathia, and Jax, or let's call him Jax from now on, mentions that at 10,000 arms strong, they are still outmatched 3-1 against the Shuriman armies. And what is it? They're situated. Oh, and also kind of near their lines, I guess, there is this big stepped granite structure where there are impaled Shuriman corpses and carrion birds circling all around it, and they've got this big pavilion atop of it, and that's where, as we know from the bio, the void shit is happening. And Axa, even just looking at it, it makes him start retching up blood. It's really just being near it and looking at it starts fucking with him. And as that's happening, the Shrimans show up. They've got tens of thousands of soldiers and slave warriors and 9 Ascended. And the Ascended are super cool in here, by the way. They're described as just massively terrifying. They're very impressive. And the Icathians almost rout just seeing them show up to the field. But then Jax rallies them. They, as the Shrimans approach, Jax and Colgrim share boiled eggs, quietly eating their eggs. And just talking about how, this is a good egg. Yeah, I put vinegar in it when I boil it. It helps peel it. Oh, yeah. Just calm before the battle, enjoying their eggs.
Graham McNeil just wanted to give you like a nice hot tip when you boil your own eggs.
It is a good tip, and it did make me want to eat a boiled egg, I will say. I was kind of hungry for eggs.
Yeah, I do not like boiled eggs, but I kind of wanted to try one boiled in vinegar. Maybe I just haven't had the right one.
No, that's not the taste, hun.
No, it's just peeling it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know that?
I do know that.
Jax maybe knows that, but anyway, the battle
I'll
commences.
get my egg tips from Jax. Thank you very much.
He is the egg man. He's the egg master. The egg master at arms. The battle commences. That's what's happening. They're fighting. There is magical artillery going off. Blast. Hitting both lines. The Shuriman's charge, and then the Acathians countercharge and break the Shurimans. And at that point, Axelmuk is kind of just lost in the chaos of battle and just like cleaving into people left and right. Doesn't matter. And then Jax kind of has them try and reform as the Ascended join the melee and start just cleaving through the Acathians. And that's when the Void is unleashed, and it just fucks everything up. Like, terrible energies and powers start emanating from it. Void matter just starts like writhing over and taking over and unmaking the Shurimans and the Ascended both. They're just getting like wrapped up in this like living gray purple matter that's just just completely disintegrating them, and they're completely shattered. Kind of immediately after that, massive chasms tear up Acathia itself. The city is just kind of rent in the chaos. And Axa, our narrator, sees one of the Ascended, this vulture-headed one, who's already being like having parts of it slough off because the Void is all over it, trying to get to this pavilion to stop everything. Axa needs to stop him, runs up and manages to kill our Ascended hero with a shot to the head, and kind of dooms all of fucking Runeterra in the process, I suppose. But the battle is over. The Shurimans have been completely destroyed and enveloped by the Void, but the city's also destroyed, and Axa and the survivors are kind of just like stuck there and just kind of like meandering with nothing they don't know what to do. And Jax rides up and is like, offers Axa, we need to leave. There's no hope here. Acathia is destroyed. It's lost. Look at this. But Axa won't leave. So Jax rides off, and we kind of cut back to where we started, where Axa is sitting there again, repeating his name, but at this point is forgetting parts of it, forgetting what they mean. And we know that parts of it mean like his parents. So he's forgetting his parents. He's forgetting what Acathia even was. And it eventually just ends with him being completely unmade or just losing himself entirely. And that's the story.
Fuck Shurima again, though. If I have any doubts.
Yeah, for sure. It I don't know. I thought this was really good. I mean, just the writing overall is very strong. The combat is visceral and brutal. The descriptions of the Void, like I said, are fucking great. Like, there's one where it talks about like the flesh of the Shuriman army utterly obscured by pale coiling ropes of hideous matter. Just like all sorts of vivid descriptions like that. It's really impressive.
Yeah, from what we've seen so far, I would say this is the best, like, I don't know, visual description we've had of the Void, or what the Void can do, or what it is.
Oh yeah.
Which is, if you're really interested in the Void, I would say this is a good story to read for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that the battle itself too had even before the Void joined, had a very kind of like almost like a Battle of the Bastards style, like claustrophobia to it.
Yeah.
It was very good. Like the chaos of like an actual war.
Yeah, it was interesting reading through this because it made me think a little bit of the Garen novella in Cythria, and how in those combat sequences they're a tight, organized unit, and it's a little smaller scale, so everything they're doing is very organized, and everyone's very aware of what's happening, and Cythria is caught up in the battle, but she's following her orders and whatever. This is just chaos. This is just like humanity grinding into each other, and Axa is
numbers against numbers. Yeah.
Yes, just the press of like bodies, right? And Axa just completely within seconds just like starts stabbing things, and he doesn't even know if they're Shuriman, if they're allies. It's just there's meat, and I'm just gonna cut it. And then I like as well. I think this like, to me, I like Bronze Age type history and warfare and shit like that. So I really like that they kind of are aware of the fact that when the Shuriman start routing, that's when things really kick up, because like they're not even fighting back anymore. They're trampling themselves, and we're just cutting into their backs, just trying to slay as many as possible. And I like to, like, Jax is like, no, we need to stop, the Ascended are coming, and he's like, I wanted to fucking curse him for his cowardice. Like, here we are, we're about to slay these guys, but then those Ascended show up, man, and like again, the writing really visceral. It talks about like there's this line when they show up. It's like screams and fountains of blood sheeted from the leading edges of our battle line. Severed heads flew backwards, spinning like rocks skipped over a pool. Bodies soon followed, tossed aside without effort. It was like, oh my god.
It was like 9 Saurons just walking through the fucking battle lines.
Yeah, I love that when their leader shows up. I don't remember her name. I know we talked about it way back in Aatrox. The one who's like,
I forgot it immediately.
I could look it up, but it doesn't matter for Jax really. But I do love that when she shows up and she just like looks at their lines, and they, like I said, they almost all just rout and flee the field without any fight. Just the idea of like, we gotta fucking fight that, like plus 8 more. Fuck that. I don't know.
Yeah, especially because like I feel like if everyone was like a Renekton or a Nasus, where you're like, all right, they're fucking big and terrifying, I'm gonna keep my distance. But then you've got that one that flies and also shoots fire like a dragon, like
yeah.
And what you do?
Exactly. Yeah, I think the Ascended in general just very cool. They're not like, they don't get a massive amount of like very detailed description, but just like the kind of like the outline we get, the silhouettes of them we see in the story are just very terrifying and impressive. I found it was from Axe's perspective. It was really effective, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it though. It was good stuff.
Yeah. The only thing I feel like, this is like a tiny nitpicky thing, but there's like a bit of a discrepancy I think with this in the bio, where because Jax leaves, he's very aware of what's going on and says, we need to fucking go. This place is fucked. But in the bio, it talks about him coming back to commit, ritual suicide. So it's a little weird to me that he would say, we need to get out, and then come back to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't super add up. I remember just being kind of confused in the bio anyway, because it was like, he returned to the crater, and I'm like, how did you not die in the first place? Like, how are you going back there? Were you not there when they opened the void? Like, yeah.
Right. And I was gonna say also in this one they're lined up and they're looking at this pavilion where the void shit's happening, and I think Axe is like, oh, what is that inside? And Jax is like, I guess it's a new weapon or something. He talks about it as if he's not sure, and he's just kind of heard, when from the bio he's very aware what that is, right? So
right, he was like, should have said no, my bad.
Should have. I will say, I do like in the bio, it's not just like, oh, I should have said no. It's like, I should have killed them. I should have killed all of the mages that brought that back to Acathia. Yeah. You were right. You should have. But yeah, man. But yeah, cool story. Neat. Yeah, if you like a lot of violence and gore and people being sad, then I recommend it.
So do y'all want to hear a little bit about some old Jax?
I do.
Yes, I do.
Now, like I mentioned, I grabbed the second version of his bio. The first one was too short.
How many Heimerdingers?
It was a little longer than one Heimerdinger, but just barely, by like 8 words.
I would have thought it was less. It would look really short.
It was very short. So, it is seldom the case where a champion is defined by his actions after joining the League of Legends, rather than before. Such is the case for Jax, for whom the argument could be made that he is the most prolific tournament fighter currently at the Institute of War. The self-proclaimed arms master of the League has rattled off a streak of consecutive wins that would be... that to this day has not been matched. Concerned that the perceived objectivity of the battle arenas would be questioned by a fighter who was unbeatable, the League at one time created special sanctions for Jax. The burly fighter responded by imposing his own special conditions as a means of protest. He limited himself to fight using only a brass lamppost. Neither the League's sanctions nor his own put a significant dent on his winning ways. The League has since rescinded its sanctions, but Jax has not. To this day, he fights, and fights well, with his trusty brass lamppost. Be advised, there have been an outbreak of lamppost-shaped bruises in the League of Legends.
It's weird that his whole bio is just about him being in the League of Legends.
Yeah. Now, I will say, because I looked through his old lore, I think the next version of this gave him a little more intrigue in that he was kind of brought in as like a ringer almost. He was this unknown fighter who got like bumped up to like, oh, he's on top of the judgment, waiting list, I guess. And he was done so by the previous like head summoner of the Institute of War, and he came in and no one really knows who he is, and he wears a mask and he's super good at fighting. And so everyone was like, oh, and that's why they had to, much like that lore you just went through, that's why they put restrictions on him. But it seemed like he was maybe more in the pocket of, or working for some mysterious summoner shit, right? Which was
mysterious summoners,
right? Which everybody ever is always dealing with mysterious summoners. So yeah, I will say, I know that some people really like that old Jax lore. I feel like they like the idea of, oh, he's just someone who's so good he purposefully limits himself, which I think could work. But the whole like joke of him fighting with a lamppost to me never landed for me. I was like, I get what it is, but I don't know. Is there like something I'm missing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm much more impressed with some of his skins at the time, like Angler Jax, where he just fights with a fishing pole. That's impressive.
Sure, right? Yeah, I don't know.
But like, if you can pick up a lamppost, it's just a staff. That's what a lamppost is.
Yeah, I think it's also
that's
like
a weapon.
You've got things like Anivia, even in this old league. You've got things that are pretty cool, like Cho'Gath is a pretty impressive thing, and I have a hard time believing that Jax, IRL, could really just beat the shit out of Cho'Gath. I know he's good with weapons, but come on, man, it's a giant void monster. I don't know.
Well, we know he can't beat the void, so he probably can't beat Cho'Gath.
Right? Even that old lore doesn't quite add up to me that he was so good they had to restrict him, but at the same time that doesn't really make sense. And then also you've got champions like, I'm sure, Brand, Cho'Gath, who probably also had to be restricted in some way. Fiddlesticks probably. Like, they have to control them in some way, right?
Right.
Because they're horrible monsters.
Just like locked in towers back in the day.
I don't know.
Well, Jax is also in 3 episodes of the Journal of Justice.
We've talked a little bit about them in
the first one we talked about for sure. Yeah. That's where Jax and Gragas get super drunk, break some bar furniture, fight some folks, break some limbs, and fondle some waitresses before disappearing into the night.
To be fair, it from the way that story is written, because I went back and read through the JOJ as well. It might not be Gragas and Jax, because my read was that they just started a big tavern brawl where it's just full chaos. If I was going to try and defend old Jax, but who knows? Your Honor, please.
He's also in issue 18. Now, this is the issue right after Urf the Manatee was murdered. Which we'll have our own special episode for Urf lore at some point that combined Urf and
Helmet Bro
episode. But this is after Urf was about to be admitted into the League of Legends, but then he got murdered by Warwick, and now this is at his funeral ceremony where Jax says, "I hardly knew him, but I have nothing but admiration. He was the only warrior in all of Valoran, other than myself, who limited his extreme power according to League sanctions. Forever lost is the opportunity to learn the legendary fish and spatula technique, thanks to a cruel and senseless murder."
Ridiculous.
It's kind of silly. It's kind of cute, I guess.
Yeah, that's fun.
And finally, he's also in volume 27. This was a reader-submitted question. It was during an interview to Wukong, basically, and the reader asked how he felt about Jax, since Wukong, pretty famously, one of his quotes is like, "I will be the best." So they're like, well, how do you feel about Jax being in the League? So he says, "Jax is tough, and he's always ready for a duel. I haven't beaten him one-on-one outside the field of justice quite yet, but I've gotten close. If there's one thing I've learned from Wuju style, though, it's that every defeat is a lesson. I can learn a lot from the Grandmaster at Arms."
Oh.
I feel like that's a little too humble for Wukong. I feel like Wukong is a little more
cocky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. We're not in the W's yet.
Yeah, right.
Soon.
Like, who knows?
Yeah, that's his old lore. And he's in several cinematics.
Yeah, tell me all the cinematics his lamppost makes.
Oh, have I got some lamppost sightings for you, my dear. So actually the first one is Higher, which is a Mecha Kingdom skin trailer, which has a big Jax in it.
A big boy Jax.
Big boy. The trailer makes it look like he has turned into a mountain-sized version of himself by the gods to fight some sort of big threat, but it's not exactly the case. But I'll get more into that when we get into the Mecha Kingdoms AU. Now, he's also in the Warriors cinematic, which is the World's 2014 one. You can see his giant face made out of stone at 48 seconds.
Eating an egg.
Got it. He's in the Ignite Worlds 2016 cinematic, and let me just tell you, I got fucking baited again. Just like I did with Darius and Draven, and I somehow forgot. I watched the whole cinematic, and then after the cinematic finishes, there's a scene of a girl in her bedroom about to start a game of League, and there's a Jax PopCap figure on her desk.
Eating an egg.
And he's in Rise, the World's 2018 cinematic. When I say he, I mean his lamppost, front and center, right when the cinematic starts.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, in terms of trailers, he's in the League of Legends Clash of Fates trailer.
This is the OG trailer.
This is the OG trailer. This is the trailer before the good one. Because there was a good one that got me into the game. This is the that one.
Is it really good, or are you using good with
I actually
quotes?
went back and rewatched it. I mean, obviously it doesn't hold up compared to their current ones, but it's still pretty fucking good. But yeah, this original one is basically just, they show 3 champions and then all the champions on a cliff, and he's one of the champions on the cliff.
Yeah, it's kind of Smash Brothers. It seemed like...
It was very Smash Brothers, actually. Yes. Good comparison. And then finally, he's in A New Dawn. Now, in this cinematic, Jax fights our boy Darius. He's holding his own, though, to be fair, not nearly as much as I would have expected, given his reputation, and given someone who's killed and ascended. He's just kind of going even with Darius, who, Darius, you're good, but, you haven't killed and ascended. And then he gets flattened by a Nautilus hook that Graves was somehow nimble enough to partially block with his shotgun later in the cinematic, but this master nimble fighter just did not see coming at all, apparently, and gets one shot.
Well, he gets his staff broken, and he's very distracted by that, I assume. He gets his lamp post broken by Darius. So, I know, it's not an excuse, don't get me wrong.
Should have fought better against Darius.
Yeah,
he's just fair. A dude.
I guess the thing about the Ascended, don't they say, it was probably a team effort, right? Don't they mention that in the, where Kathy once stood? Colgrim's kind of oh, this guy did it all, and Jack's it was, like I said, group effort, right? I just got the killing blow. He just stole that shit.
Classic top laners.
Right?
Oh, damn. Says the AD carry.
Slash top laner.
That's true, actually.
Now, Jax is part of several AUs.
I'm ready.
All right. You ready for this? All right. Yeah. First of all, he's part of Marauders vs. Wardens. Now, to remind you, this is set in an alternate Runeterra where each champion is a warrior fighting on the Summoner's Rift. That's right. This AU is the AU that is just original League of Legends lore.
Why?
Because
some people really fucking like it, man.
Okay.
This one's Warden Jax. A lone warden claims to have lived since the destruction of the original Protectorate. While few records can back up his claims, Jax believes the Rune War began with the failures of a legal body founded to curtail political power. When this institution faltered, the fate of all was sealed.
Okay.
And wait, so hold on. So there was an Institute of War, and then it faltered, and that caused the Rune Wars, and then there's a new Institute of War? Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is interesting, because this is an alternate future where they kept the League shit. It's not the original Institute of War. It's just a new, an
improved Institute of War with the Wardens and the Protectorates and Marauders.
Okay, now, interesting. You piqued my interest.
It's like they were we're on to something. We may have messed it up a little bit, but I think there's something, we can juice this a little bit.
15 more years, yeah.
Yeah.
Great, awesome.
Now, much like I think every one of the most recent champions we've talked about, he's also part of a mortal journey.
Oh yeah.
Long ago, in an ancient land, many souls gathered beneath the gods to test the limits of their power. Foolish and arrogant, brave and just, their journeys are written into the immortal pages of history. And this one is God Staff Jax. The God Staff was once an earthly champion who searched fruitlessly for a weapon worthy of his power. At the twilight of his life, he finally came across a staff glowing with the light of the gods, granting him immortality and even greater strength. And also, this has a short story associated with it called Godstaff. And when I say short story, also almost one full Heimer bio.
Oh, shit.
It's basically just Jax hitting a mountain with his staff, and then he knocks it down, and then he's like, imagine that. A real weapon. What? You know, which is a reference to his quote, imagine if I had a real weapon.
That's like his Mundo goes where he pleases line. That's like the one thing that they can latch onto. That and eggs.
That and eggs.
He doesn't have any other personality. Lantern and eggs.
Which is wild for someone who, like, is so visually distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really AU stuff, but I feel like I would really like him to get a visual update and a VO update, and for the love of God, fucking update his skill icons, please. His passive is still him fishing or whatever. It doesn't make any fucking sense, man.
You know, he's just out here living his best life.
Yeah.
Now, he's also part of Mecha Kingdom. The great kingdoms warred for generations until the arrival of a new enemy. To fight back, they're blessed with gifts from the heavens. Will they rise above their past to save their future? Now, this line is separated into 3 kingdoms. Dawn Rise, which is protected by Leona. Esther Crest, which is protected by Jax. And Versentia, which is protected by Garen. And the Protectors pilot massive robots named Avalons to fight giant Leviathans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is Mecha Kingdom's Jax. Famed as the greatest weapons master in all the land, Jax has been itching for a proper weapon and a proper fight. When the best minds in the Estercrest Kingdom come together, using strange technology seemingly gifted to them by the heavens, to construct an indomitable Avalon, Jax was finally impressed. He welcomes the Leviathan invasion, hoping these monstrous foes will prove to be the challenge he's been searching for his entire life. I like to imagine that he beats the Leviathan and is like, hey, you want to come with me to Acathia?
I got a job for you.
Hey kids, you want to go to Acathia?
I got eggs.
We're spending too much time together.
Motherfuck. Fucking eggs.
So he's also
Sorry.
now he's also part of winter sports. Set in a
God,
winter-oriented
this kid.
setting, all of the champions wear winter sports gear and play winter sports games. This is the mighty Jax. The hockey prodigy known as Jax is feared throughout the tournament circuit for his incredible reflexes and ability to kill a man with any object. There are rumors he used to be a defense attorney, but nobody knows for certain. Classic.
Wow.
Do the
Quack.
flying Jax.
Quack. Quack. Quack.
Wow.
Egg.
Crack. Crack.
There you go. That was better.
Fuck. Man, the best part is like no one's gonna understand any of that bullshit, right? When
They're
it comes to
too
like
young.
that reference. Yeah.
Have you kids watched Mighty Ducks? I don't know.
I mean, they just rebooted it on Disney Plus. It's
True.
going to be all the hotness again.
Oh,
Yeah.
look.
The kids love the ducks.
Can't get enough of them.
Oh, we're so fucking old.
He's also part of Road Warrior. Set in a dystopian wasteland, each of the champions represents Fallout survivors turned into vandals, raiders, and roadsters. And this one is Vandal Jax. A wandering warrior, feared by the wasteland's many roving gangs, Jax casually strolls around miles of broken highway with a 2x4 and a few rusty nails, crushing the heads of anyone he happens to run into. it gets just as ugly as it sounds.
Dope. He's like he's Road Warrior in this one. That's pretty fucking cool. Cool. All right.
And he's part of Day Job, where each skin just represents a champion doing their daily job routine. And this one is Angler Jax. Nothing quite like the peace of the great outdoors, waiting for that perfect bite, and then violently ripping a fish out of the water before hitting it with his fishing rod.
Okay.
Damn. I'm
Do it.
I don't know. I thought fishing is more of a relaxing thing, but I get that.
And he's part of Hexplore, which is a Wild Rift exclusive skin line. Set in a world where champions are, you're not going to believe this, Hexplorers.
Oh, God.
Hexplorer Jax, a master of hexploration. Jax travels light so he can load up his pack with artifacts from ancient cities. Yet nobody has ever heard of these civilizations before, and some of the technology he brings back seems curiously advanced.
Damn.
Why can't I find this one?
I'm looking at this skin now. I like this skin line. This is like that
Let me find it.
I just googled Hexplorer Jax.
Oh my god.
This reminds me
Oh,
of
it's a Wild Rift one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
If only I had specified it was a Wild Rift exclusive right at the start.
I don't always listen when you talk, John.
It's fair. I tune in and
Anyway,
out too.
sorry, Mark. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say I wish we had it in League. It makes me think of the cyber pop skins where it's like where it's like a nice little like two ideas and that have been kind of mixed together to make something that's nice and unique. So
Yeah.
who else has skins on these in Wild Rift? Do you know? Whatever. I'll look it up later. It don't matter.
Now, finally, he's part of PAX, which is just set in an alternate digital and gaming world. Each skin is made to celebrate the Penny Arcade Expo.
Why does Jax only have 3 fingers?
Yeah, they never get into that, do they?
Yeah, oh my god. Why does he only have 3 fingers? How does he peel all his eggs?
That's just how they do.
Maybe the Cathians are not human, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why he boils his eggs in vinegar. He mentions they're easier to peel that way. Maybe he specifically means easier to peel with 3 fingers.
I mean, they're big. They're real thick.
They are thick.
I'm sorry I said it like that, but you didn't have to make it worse.
Now, this one is a reference to the cardboard tube samurai from Penny Arcade. There's no lore specific for this. But I figured I'd mention it because the year I dressed up as Frosted Ezreal for Halloween, which, there's a picture of online.
We did post that on Twitter.
Freak was dressed as Pax Jax. And we have a picture of us posing together.
Yeah.
And our friend dressed as Reverse Annie.
Yeah.
Or maybe just regular Annie at the time, I forget.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I know you posted in the Discord. I have to look. But yeah, it's cute. Like you said, baby freak. It's funny to see.
Little baby freak.
Little baby freak.
He is little baby freak. I wouldn't have known that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was back before a lot of shoutcasting when he was just a member community. And the whole community team was a handful of people that sat with us in player support. In the cave. Now I have some fun Jax facts for y'all.
So many Jax facts.
Oh, yeah. Now, Jax is voiced by Eric Bra, who we mentioned also does Draven, also does Vel'Koz.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I was like, damn. Because Vel'Koz, like Jax and Draven, I think sound pretty similar. They also talk similar, but Vel'Koz is very unique. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Showing his depth.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Jax's eyes are blue.
Thanks.
So, there you go. And this was it. So this one, I immediately picked up on this when I first started playing League. But Jax is likely inspired by Garrett Jax, who is a character from the first fantasy series I ever read, the Shannara Chronicles. In the Sword of Shannara, Garrett Jax is known as the Weapon Master. He was adept with any weapon and was undefeated in combat.
Damn. Yeah, that sounds pretty 1-to-1. Would you recommend it, the book, or the series?
I actually really liked the books. They turned it into like an MTV series, and I would not recommend that.
And I can't stress enough, John's standard for like a good TV show, kind of low. Like you're pretty
low.
easy to please. So I knew it was bad when he was like, this is not good.
I just kept it was
You kept watching it, though.
I kept like every episode I was like, all right, they could do this next episode and this show would probably be good. And I'd keep watching them and they wouldn't do that. They'd do something else awful instead. It'd be like, okay, well, if they do this next episode, you could still probably salvage this series. And I thought that the whole way through season 1. So I did not give season 2 a try. But
Maybe that's when it got good, John.
maybe.
Right?
But if you've only watched the miniseries, or the full series, I guess, and haven't read the books, like, the books are good. You should read the books.
Okay. Maybe I will.
We probably have them.
I do, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe not here, at my parents' house at least. So for one of the early April Fool's Day patches, Wriggle's lantern, which is an old jungler item,
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
it was given the following joke passive, referencing Jax's usage of a lamppost. New unique passive, taunts nearby Jaxes, both enemy and allied.
Oh my.
Fun little jokey joke. Before his transformation, actually, you talked about that one already. I just have a description of what Jax looked like back in the day.
Yeah.
Although it was actually specifically mentioned that he was not transformed by his contact with the Void, which I kind of initially assumed he was based on the multiple, like the description of what he looked like then compared to now. One of the writers confirmed that, like, that's just what he looks like.
Yeah, I wondered if maybe him having weird, like, mottled skin was just because he's living even longer than he should with the torch or whatever.
Yeah.
And also in that longer one, it mentions that when he goes to meet Axel way later, he's got a big, massive scar down the right side from, like, over his eye down to his jaw. So he's probably got that going on now, too. Not that we'll ever see his face, but, you know.
Speaking of being old, Jax is more than 3,500 years old.
From the first breath
Cool.
of creation.
Yeah, it's hinted that he can live longer than usual due to just being non-human, like a lot of Acathian cities. But yeah, the fire was the main reason. It's giving him the extra lifespan.
A little bit of oomph.
Yeah.
The quote that I said at the very beginning, the "Here's to you, kid," references Joe, an Ewing sarcoma patient who, thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, was able to visit Riot Games headquarters. Jaxness was Joe's favorite skin, and after he passed away in 2012, the Grandmaster at Arms says the line in his memory. As a result, he actually became the first non-legendary skin to have a special line.
Cute.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Those are all my Jax facts.
Ooh, good job, hun.
No, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, that was Jax. I feel like I learned a lot more about, like, certain, like, history in Runeterra, but I don't feel like I learned too much about Jax. He had a bit of personality in that one short story. He had some one-liners, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would like to see some kind of connection, I guess, with somebody else. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, show us the aftermath of what happened with Fiora. Like, actually, because
Yeah.
she could use it. Give her, you know, that would, hey, give her a higher purpose, right? Look at that. She's got a whole house of duelists that she's been training who could, look, there's your new Kohari right there.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or he needs a Darius comic-like thing to really give us that third heat, right? To really peel a little bit back more in McCore. But,
Yeah. Because that definitely unraveled Darius for us.
yeah. Yeah,
His
definitely.
comic, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. The only other thing I was going to say is that, not about him, but I'd be curious when we finally get to an Ixtali champion. I don't know who the first one will be, because I know a big thing with them is, like, elemental magic. Like, I know Malphite was, like, created by an Ixtali mage, and something that comes up in that Where Acathia Once Stood story is that a lot of their mages are, a lot of the Acathian mages are, like, stone bender types. Like, they can, they specifically can do things with the stone, and they're, like, rebuilding the city's walls and shit. So I know, like, Talia can do that. I know Ixtali has elemental magic, and that would also kind of point to maybe something to do with his elemental fire and his thing. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see if that is at all related, or if that's just happenstance, I guess. I don't know.
Is Nico our first?
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know
that.
too many people from
Yeah.
there. Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But that's it for Jax. Thank you for listening. We post these on YouTube and we have a Twitter. It's at Loreheads. And I
Yeah.
think that's all I've got to say.
Yeah, join us. Also, 50th episode, right? This one, 50th?
This one is our
Yes.
50th.
I think this one is our 50th episode.
That's awesome.
Decided. Yeah.
cool.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah. And
That's a big milestone.
Yeah. Well, I remember saying to y'all offline, it was like, I remember we were doing the Aatrox episode and we like stumbled upon a little bit of this Jax lore. And I remember thinking like, man, this looks kind of cool. I can't wait to get to it. Maybe it wasn't like worth the wait, but it's neat to be here now, I guess. I'm like, hey, look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But thank you for sticking around for 50
Yes.
episodes.
Yeah.